I saw more multicolored gay flags than the stars and stripes outside houses and buildings, and I wasn't even uber gay West Hollywood. It was a clear sign that the Supreme Court of the United States had finally reached the decision on the controversial Proposition 8 here in California. After months and months of, for some even years of campaigning, not so much to legalize gay marriage per se, but to fight for equality. The Supreme Court have effectively given people in same-sex relationships the same rights as those in a heterosexual one. Why for the most modern and powerful democracy on the planet to finally come to this conclusion is beyond me. This decision not only vindicates years of campaigning, but the recognition that in the eyes of the law, man and a woman in a relationship is just as legitimate as two people in a heterosexual one. Yes, it was only a matter of time before the overwhelming tide of public opinion managed to convince the country and the decision makers that actually Proposition 8 was abhorrent and totally unjust in every shape and form. When are people going to learn that actually bias or prejudice towards a group of individuals whose only crime is to love one another is wholly unacceptable in modern society? On the one hand, I don't know why we're actually celebrating the end of Proposition 8, because for me, America represents everything that is just, free and true. I mean, that's the idea, right? A society, of course, built on principles where every man was and is free from the tyranny of despots and oligarchies. A society where no one man is above the other, where all are subject to the rule of law. By that very definition, surely we're all equal and should be treated as such. In short, Americans can finally now hold their heads up high because they have proven to the rest of the world that the very values and principles for which this country stands for is earmarked by this historic decision. For many years, people have questioned the validity and existence of American values. But for me, this landmark decision will ironically show the world what a great nation is capable of doing. I say ironic because homosexuality in some countries is frowned upon and is actually illegal. Yet those same countries would happily and readily accept help from America, and at the same time only too readily criticize something as basic and fundamental as human rights. That aside, were I not a citizen of the United Kingdom, I would be proud to call myself an American. Talking of Americans, where do those Americans who advocate of Proposition 8 or advocates of Proposition 8 now go? Of course, what section or group or society is their next target? Will they finally learn that the ignorance and intolerance of others says more about their insecurities and fears than anything else? Surely isn't it time they simulate in society and stop peddling their bigoted and biased views? Go out and get an education. Try and meet people from all walks of life. Understand that the country and the world is made up of many different faces, people, colors, and of faiths and beliefs. On second thoughts, actually don't bother, because your arrogance only highlights just how unjust, insane, and wrong you really are. Ill-educated, ill-informed, ill-advised, and your beliefs outdated and antiquated in every shape and form. The best thing to do with people like you is to ignore you. By paying attention, we're only validating your existence. Thankfully, the justices of the Supreme Court have given you a stick to beat yourself with. And talking of the Supreme Court, what now? Where does this leave the Defense of the Marriage Act and the whole issue of same-sex marriage? Well, this is a decision rather effectively kills DOMA in the water, or rather kills it dead. Some are now speculating that the same-sex couple marriage licenses could be issued as soon as the next 30 days. All eyes will be on the several individuals, such as the California's Attorney General Kamala Harris, of course, who undoubtedly will sign off on these licenses. What this also means is that those 18,000 couples who were married per and post Proposition now have federal recognition of their relationship. And at the end of the day, what really matters is whether we as society are willing to recognize the right of two individuals to be happy. People publish their nuptials in the papers or post it in Facebook. Why? Well, not because they want our approval, but they want to let the world know how happy they are. Are they going to stop trying to do exactly the same? Doesn't make sense. Anyway, as always, I'd very much like to hear from you. What do you think about this whole Proposition 8? Plus, if there's some other news that's caught your eye, then shoot us an email at spotlightAmericaTV@gmail.com. But until next time, from me, Akhtar Khan, and the rest of the team here on the show, goodbye, and thanks for watching.